The first recording of this video had an introduction which didn't actually include any sound for some reason. Electronic gremlins playing with the camera at the moment, so I thought I'd re-record it because I think it's useful to set the place in context. Tyneham is a village in southwest Dorset on the Jurassic coast. In 1943 the villagers, and there were something like 120 odd properties, were given 28 days notice to quit by the military because the training ground that's centred around Bovington, the headquarters of the tank regiments in Britain, was going to be massively expanded. The village existed really to serve the Banks family stately home, and the rest of the estate included sort of farmland, shooting and so on. There is a story about the Banks family home though that it got demolished in 1968 or something, having been fairly stripped fairly heavily rather of bits and pieces, and apparently hit by shelling on a few occasions. The army denied anything of the sort. It's on a live range which is closed every so often, so people can actually go and have a look at it. The villagers were told when they were evacuated that they could go back, but inevitably they didn't. There is some activity on the edge of the ranges now, but not a great deal. So that's Tyneham. This is part of the old farmhouse. It's actually surprisingly popular here today. And I found out something recently, those pillars have actually stopped rats getting up into that grain store. And there's various bits in there, we're going to have a look. And just come across this sign. This is great, I love this sort of thing. Training and examination base for the Dorset branch of the Dry Stone Walling Association. And there's a little display of, well, stone, but that's supposed to be dry stone walling as well. And there's a display of various bits of scrap iron, old farm machinery, all sorts of bits and pieces. Knife sharpener. And these are fired rounds. High explosive squash head. And some rounds down there as well. There's the history barn. Didn't know that. Used to be a theatre, was used as a theatre. There's a display of various farming bits and pieces. Some wicked looking saws. And more agricultural, dear me, tools, and a very nice old workbench. It's a nice old vice, isn't it? Genuinely surprised this stuff is already fixed down good. All hand tools. Bull house. The remains of the hen house. This is the old stable block. Tractors would have been around, but I guess would have been very, very expensive. Room for a lot of horses. That's what it would look like. Apparently half a dozen horses. And this is the village phone box. That would have been it. That would have been the working phone for the village. And there's a little thing about the history of it. mostly that during the filming of something around here it was knocked over. But yeah, proper old phone box. And a schoolhouse, although there is another proper school building. I'm sure they kept naughty children in there, presumably. There's a quite surprisingly large church. We forget that this is a huge estate, so people would come here from quite some distance. And people also came back here. Some of the people who were removed in 1943 actually made a point of wanting to be buried back in this churchyard. A pretty impressive piece of stained glass. With the son of one of the Bonds, the family who owned the place. It's another grave of one of the ex-villagers. There's some more of the buildings that are fenced off, falling down, although judging by the ironwork there, it's probably been a little bit unstable for a while. And next to the rectory cottages is the little school. And this is inside the school. So this is the whole rectory building, and they're not being subtle with any green fencing. Not a lot of subtlety at all. So that's the remains of the rectory. It was quite a grand building in its time. There were something like 106 properties. That's why the church is so big. There were something like 106 properties within the area that was evacuated. So what could be interesting about the laundry cottages? Well, owned by the estate, the only dwelling in the village to have running water. Everybody else had to collect it from the pump near the church. So this is where the washing was all done. And that is the water pump by the church. Just there. So that was it. Source of water for the entire village. Just found an information board about the ranges that we're actually walking through. That's the sort of area it covers. A little bit about the history. And a bit of health and safety. Basically, don't leave it there, don't pick it up. And loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of warning signs. So we're actually going down this way, which is towards the coast. Oh, one of the other dangers faced in walking down through a ghost village to the coast. Still on the path down to the coast, we've come across some hard targets. And there's a sign up there that is a target as well. And if we look on the other side of this path, this area is a site of special scientific interest in the middle of the range. There's some very rare birds and insects, and it is amazing on these ranges. The MOD have stewardship of a huge amount of southern England, which is very rich in natural history and archaeology, and they preserve it very, very well. back up the range. Someone's got quite a sense of humour. We're very close to the coast. There's another abandoned building, home of some sort. See the views. I'm deliberately not going over to the left yet. When we do look left, I think we'd agree that is a spectacular view. Another target up there, and the sea. Quite amazingly, this little hamlet, and in the end had 10 villagers living around here. They were all evacuated as well. God, it must have been bleak and hard. But spectacularly beautiful. And this is something else I think is quite spectacular. You see the lines of the rock when it goes like that? That's because it was basically pushed up out of the earth tens of thousands of years ago. It's a feature along this coast. It's just remarkable and it's breathtaking, and it gets me every single time I look at it. It's a little memorial to number 4 Commando on the Dieppe raid, because they would have trained around here. The commandos did quite a lot of training in this area. Apparently, according to someone who's just been overhearing, these have taken ammunition from an ammunition dump behind that bush we're going to have a look at in a minute, up to, well, somewhere up there presumably. Right, so that's the back of what is apparently a bunker. It looks more like a moving target thing to me. It's going back, and there's another range wreck. Is it a Saracen? That concludes then our trip to Tyneham. I just thought we'd have a look at this. We've been on a military range and the red flag's flying. I guess they've just forgotten to take it down though. But the main reason is just to have a look at this. There's this coastline. Is it not absolutely spectacular? Where we've been is just the other side of that hill. But again, the view into the bay. Across there, it really is spectacular. This is just outside the evacuation area, in fact just over that little ridge there that was the last of the abandoned buildings. But yeah, it's spectacular out there. Anyway, let's see where we're going to go next. That concludes then our trip to Tyneham. I just thought we'd have a look at this. We've been on a military range and the red flag's flying. I guess they've just forgotten to take it down though. But the main reason is just to have a look at this. There's this coastline. Is it not absolutely spectacular? Where we've been is just the other side of that hill. But again, the view into the bay. Down across there, it really is spectacular. This is just outside the evacuation area, in fact just over that little ridge there that was the last of the abandoned buildings. But yeah, it's spectacular out there. Anyway, let's see where we're going to go next.